The stories I'm about to tell you have not been embellished at all because, frankly, there's no need to. They are just that crazy. In 2015, myself and my friend, who's also a cameraman, went to India. Now, when a lot of people think of India, they think tigers. But a lot of people don't know there's actually the last population of Asiatic lions living in one forest in Gujarat, which is a state northwest in India. So him and me trekked out because I wanted to do a documentary on why these lions are leaving their protected natural habitat, being the Gir forest, and moving, hundreds of kilometers away from that protected habitat. Fairly straightforward. I mean, not really. That's a challenge in itself. So we get to India, 3 or 4 flights later, we get to where we want to be. We find accommodation in the closest area to the Gir forest. So our accommodation was basically, I guess it was like a farm or a homestay that had been turned into accommodation. All right. From the get-go, when we got there, we could tell straight away that this area is very rural, very rustic. There was horse and carts, things like that. Still basically, mud huts and things like that. It was very rustic, very rural. It was awesome. It was cool. The whole month we were there, we didn't see another white person. That's awesome. That means, you're not getting flocked with tourists and things like that. So in that sense, it was really cool. But we soon learned that privacy in that area doesn't exist. For example, in the courtyard was the only place that would get Wi-Fi. And Simon and I are checking our social media in this courtyard area, and you turn around and there's about 10 people looking over your shoulder, directly looking over your shoulder, looking at what you're doing. Sometimes even got their hand on your shoulder, looking. So you're kind of okay, but they're curious, cool. They wanted to know why we were there, what we're doing there. So, in their defense, whatever. It then started getting a bit too much. For example, 10 o'clock at night, we'd be laying in bed, trying to sleep, and there'll be a knock at the door. Answer the door, and there's a guy that works there with 10 other people, tourists, Indian tourists from other parts of India, standing there looking at us like we were on exhibition, He just wanted to show them us. It got that bad, pretty frustrating, that I was just answering the door butt naked. I was like, you know what, whatever, this is my room. You want to see something? Here you go. So they soon stopped. They soon stopped doing it, but it became a problem because we wanted to go to the Gir forest every day to look for these lions. But there was just roadblock after roadblock. We just couldn't do anything. They wouldn't even call us taxis to take us to the forest. They wouldn't organize transport for us. We're like, we'll pay you. We'll pay you whatever you want. We just need to go to the forest. That's why we're here. We've come all this way to look for these lions. And it took a kind of sinister turn where, you get that feeling that people aren't happy with you or they're conspiring something. There was that feeling floating around. Everyone was lovely, everyone was nice, but there was just this underlying, it was just thick in the air that something was going on. And another story as well, we saw a guy that was working there get electrocuted. We see him sitting there, he's been electrocuted, his hand was melted and his toe was exploded, so the current's gone in and out. We're like, call him an ambulance, and everyone's like, why? He's fine. He was working that afternoon, he was back working. So, these people, if they don't work, they don't eat. It's not like the luxuries we get. These people have to work, otherwise they can't put food on the table for their families. It is crazy. So you don't know how lucky you've got it. We affectionately nicknamed him Crispy afterwards. That wasn't his name, but no, he didn't know. All right, so you know, we're at this homestay, we go out, we're looking for lions. Now the thing is, in that forest you need to be on like a safari. You can't go walking around that forest. I hate tourist stuff, I hate tours, I don't do it. I had to go out and do my own thing. So we sort of exploring the outskirts of the forest, which lions still have access to, but it's not part of the forest, so we can't get in trouble. But at the end of the day, we are walking around a jungle with wild lions, but that's cool. That's a cool experience to me. So we do find lions on one of these safaris, and we also find them off the safari, which was a bonus. That's exactly what I wanted. So the next thing was to find wild lions ages away from the actual forest. That's why I was there. Why are they leaving this forest and, you know, ending up at people's farms hundreds of kilometers away? So we get invited to one of the locals, like a dinner at their house, right? Now these guys are really cool. Like, these guys were awesome. They were so accommodating. They said they knew of a lion that was on somebody's farm eating one of their buffaloes. So we're like, hell yeah, we gotta go. This is exactly what we wanted. It's on a farm right now.
Yes, maybe. They killed a buffalo.
Kill buffalo.
It killed a buffalo. But we could only see it at night time. So part of the deal was we had to have dinner with the family, and then they'll take us to see this lion. They want us to have dinner with them, and then they'll take us to a farm where a lion apparently is. So maybe they're fattening me up for the lions. Yeah.
So they have agreed to.
So we rock up at this house, and I walk in the door, and there's like 20 women sitting on the floor, you know, peeling onions and chopping up vegetables and that.
I was definitely a little caught off guard. I wasn't expecting such a large turnout. It felt like I was in a Gujarati version of The Bachelor.
And the men are all outside, you know, having a laugh or whatever. But I was like, I thought it was just a family dinner. There would have been 100 people there. I walked in, and all the women are like, what the hell is that? Like, I'm all filthy, covered in, you know, dirt and unshaved. I would have thought like a Sasquatch has walked through the door. But that was awesome, you know. Gujarat's a completely vegetarian state, so, you know, I'm far from a vegetarian, but you know what, the food was amazing. So anyway, they take us out. We finally find this lion. It's a young male. It's eating a buffalo. We're watching it for a while. It gets up and just disappears into the darkness. Where the hell's that gone? Next minute, it's running at us. So we jump into the back of this pickup truck, and, you know, we hightail it out of there. Then the next thing I remember is driving back to our homestay, and we're driving through, you know, a pretty populated street, and there's a bloody leopard trotting along the side of the road. I was like, shit, we need to get footage of this. I jump out of the car, Simon jumps out with the camera. The leopard's made a run for it into like 6-foot grass, and I've chased after it. And it's at that moment I realised, when I'm in the middle of that grass, I'm like, oh shit. It's like 2 o'clock in the morning, it's pitch black. I'm in grass that's like head height with a leopard. Simon's not with me. He was a smart one. He stayed out there. He was like, I ain't going in there. And that's when I sort of went, oh, I should probably get the hell out of here. But anyway, I wanted more footage of the lions. You know, we're there a month. We may as well get as most footage as we can. And we knew that we couldn't get that footage staying at the place we're staying. They were just limiting us way too much. So we found another accommodation. It was an actual hotel, like a nice looking hotel. And we were like, why didn't we stay in this in the first place? So we go to the receptionist guy, and we're like, look, we're checking out early. It's not you, it's me, you know, giving him that old chestnut. Can we have a driver take us to this new place? And he's like, yeah. They don't speak a word of English. Like, most of them don't speak a word of English, which is fine. I'm in their country, that's fine. They don't even speak Hindi. They speak Gujarati, which is a completely different thing altogether. And we tell him, can we get an English-speaking driver so we can give him directions? They're kind of funny about it, you know. Their demeanor changed a lot. They weren't as happy and as nice as they previously were. So we're kind of like, all right, that's fine. Like, we get in the car and there's two people in the car. There's the driver and someone sitting in the passenger seat. Why? Why do you need two people to drive us, 10 minutes down the road? And the thing is, we were like, okay, that's the translator. Nah, none of them spoke English. And, they were dodgy looking guys. Gold teeth, all that jazz. So immediately we're kind of like, okay, something's up here. Something's going on here. And we're driving for a bit and we're kind of like, okay, that's our hotel there. We could see it. And they keep on driving. And it's just quiet. We try and ask them questions. Even if you don't speak English, still respond. Give us a head nod, something. Nothing. So it was at that moment where we asked them to pull over several times and they wouldn't. Generally if you tap someone on the shoulder and say, you don't even have to speak English. You don't even have to talk. They know to pull over. Nah, they're driving. So it was at that moment where me and Simon are sort of looking at each other going, and Simon's a big dude as well. Like, do we have to start throwing fists here to get these guys to pull over? That would be a mistake because in their country, you start doing that, man, they got friends. You're done. So we didn't want it to come to that. So luckily we had a journalist friend that we'd made over there. He was such a cool guy. And we rang him. And we told him what was going on. No, we were messaging him. Telling him what was going on. And he got back to us straight away. He's like, all right, give us some street names, anything that you can see, landmarks and all that. So we're describing what road we're on, where we are. And they finally pull over, right? And we're trying to get out of the car because we convinced them to pull over. We're trying to get out of the car and they wouldn't let us out of the car. They're yelling at us to stay in the car. We didn't know if they had friends that were coming to meet them, but they just weren't budging. We're trying to get out of the car. It was this close to going, booting that car door down because I'm not sitting there waiting for something bad to happen. Nah, like I'm a man of action. So is Simon. And they just weren't letting us out of the car. Finally, our contact arrives and pulls in front of him, gets out of the car. He's talking to them, explaining, what's going on. You got to let these guys go. They finally agreed to let us go. And we asked him, Rajesh, I'm pretty sure his name is. We asked Rajesh, we were like, what was going on? He explained to us that that homestay didn't want us to leave because we were drawing in tourism. Other Indian put on a bit of weight in quarantine. Other tourists from India were coming to stay at that place to look at us. They wanted to see us. They wanted to, see what we're all about. So if we left, that's drawing business away from that homestay. They were going to take us back there and basically hold us hostage, like on display, it kind of makes me feel like a zoo animal. And at that point in time, I did look like a zoo animal. Like, this is shaped. Normally it's like, if I let myself go in the jungle for 2 weeks, there wouldn't be a patch of my body that wouldn't be covered in hair. I would look like a Yeti, or his North American cousin, the Sasquatch. Or swamp ape, if you're in South Florida there. But yeah, we would have been a sight to see, that's for sure. But yeah, that was it. They were trying to hold us hostage to draw in tourism. That's crazy. But, that is just one of like a million stories I can tell you from that trip, and I could write an entire novel. But I'm not going to sit here for 2 days straight telling you all the stories that happened on that trip. But hey, it's not an adventure if nothing goes wrong. And I tell you what, it was an adventure on bloody steroids. So I'll make you more videos of my trips, especially the India one, because it was epic and there was a lot more stuff that went on, that transpired on that trip, but I don't have days on end. So I hope you enjoyed that little story. If you actually want to watch the documentary, I've got a shortened version on my YouTube channel, but I'm going to upload the full version. It goes for like 40 minutes. It's actually a really cool documentary. The kidnapping stuff isn't in it because I didn't think it was appropriate to add that. It was about the lions, not me. But watch this documentary. It's really cool. Like Gujarat, Sasan Gir, the Gir Forest, the Asiatic lions are just amazing.